Okay, as you're going to see with the videos this year, you can stop them at any time so that you can answer the questions. This one today is going to be means of production by businesses, marginal analysis, and finally market economy. So look at that word scarcity. We all, I think, at times, if not all the time, wish we had more hours in a day to do more things, more time to study, more time to play, more time to read books, more time to do whatever you want to do. Businesses have to be aware of this at all times. And there are actually four things, you can see them right down here, that they have to be aware of. Let's start with the bottom one. Let's think of a company you all use or know. Amazon.com started about 15 years ago by Jeff Bezos. He was working for what's known as a hedge fund, a group that's sole job is to make money in New York City. He was in his late 20s. He was making $100,000 back then. That was a very good salary. He came up with this idea that people might want to buy things online. He said he picked online because people were increasing their use of the internet 4,000% a year, and he said you never see that kind of stuff in business. But the idea of buying online was wild and wacky when he started it. To start, he needed capital. He went to 60 people. From 60 people, he found 15 who paid him $1 million collectively, including his parents, who gave him their life savings. They, by the way, are billionaires now. He hired 4 employees. The 4 employees plus himself worked out of his house. He moved from New York City to Seattle. They had computer equipment made in part from natural resources, paper, etc., from trees, power from resources to run these things. And obviously, eventually, it worked out and he created a huge company. So again, if you want to read these, you would just stop this now and take notes. Okay, so trade-offs or opportunity costs. The opportunity trade-off is did he want to work for a hedge fund and live in New York City, or did he want to go to Seattle and make zero money? So the opportunity cost is the cost he gave up by leaving New York City. So he gave up $100,000. He gave up a nice apartment to live in and he did this for 5 or 6 years, the first 5 or 6 years of Amazon's lifespan, lived in a 3-bedroom apartment, a house. He took a smaller place in a cheaper economy so that he could live. So the question is for you, how much satisfaction do you get from one more unit? From Jeff Bezos, it was, well, I'm making 100,000. How much satisfaction am I going to get if I next year make 110, next year 120, and ultimately maybe peak at 500,000? And he realized that he was not going to get enough satisfaction. That for him, the idea, more important than the money, was the idea that ultimately could lead to the money. So for you guys, it might be, should you study or should you go for a run to relax yourself because you've been studying so long, or should you hang out with your friends? What's the cost of doing it? One more hour, one more 10-minute period, etc. Or if you're, say, a runner and you've ran 10 miles, is one more mile a day going to make the difference, or could it get you hurt? These are things you have to think of. Or if you're studying, if you study 3 hours for the test a day, the first hour is going to have a high return, but if you wake up tomorrow, what's the marginal analysis on one more hour or half an hour of studying? I would at this point stop so that you can answer my questions, look at it, maybe look up a couple things on the internet, and then go to the last slide, which is dealing with market economy. And obviously we're doing a couple things right now because that's what your plan for the week calls for. That's Adam Smith. He's a 18th century philosopher who comes up with capitalism or free market economy. He says that business should never interfere in government should never interfere with business, that businesses should do whatever they want. In the late 1800s, when they were employing children 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, if he had been alive, would have said that's fine. The reason being that ultimately if so many kids are employed, that there are not going to be enough kids going to school and ultimately not becoming managers, and so businesses will fail. He would have said black lung disease for minors was fine because if business didn't change and take more precautions, the kids who would living in West Virginia and Pennsylvania, for example, the coal mining towns would see what their parents were going through and just not even want to go into the family business and move to cities, and then where would coal mining be? So obviously our country, the United States, doesn't believe in true capitalism. We do make what are known as government regulations. So those coal mining companies would say have to give their coal miners health benefits. We don't allow children to work uh, till they're 16 full time, and at 16, the only one, sorry, 14 on farms and 16 for anything else full time. The opposite of a market economy is a planned market economy. That's true communism, where a couple of things happen. One, the government runs everything, but two, people just do whatever is best for them. If they need a passenger van because they have 4 kids, they just go there and truly don't even need money. If the father in that family who needed the passenger van works 2 miles from his house, or if it's a mother who's doing the work, or both of them only work 2 hours, 2 minutes away, or 2 miles, they both could just go out and get bikes. They really wouldn't need to go get fancy cars, and so they would do, quote, the right thing. Obviously, it's never worked. True communism, true capitalism have both had governments get involved. That's it. Again, now you're going to have to answer questions and contact me if you have any of your own.